let's get into this draft. Charizard banned immediately by reject, and we have a Dodrio. Luminosity doing a little bit of studying, a little homework, getting that thing off the board. Scizor getting banned, and Latios. Let's question mark on Latios. More question mark on Scizor.
Yeah, I'm not sure I understand the Scizor unless there's something that's been... Look, I don't know what Luminosity's been cooking up in the kitchen. I can't imagine it's Scizor, but that is what has been banned here. As we have our first pick being Suicune, for my money, one of the best Pokemon going in the game right now. A great first pick as we take a look at how Luminosity wants to approach Game 1.
I mean, you have tons of good options, right? You can go Horse, going Trainer, Leafeon, Blissey. There is still Ho-Oh available in here as well. And we've been talking how strong that Pokemon has been the entire day so far.
Wow.
And
Mewtwo Wise Arena. So, I mean, this is going to be interesting. I feel like letting Slash have this Ho-Oh so late is wild. But he absolutely could. We also could see Overlord pick it up.
Listen, we're already seeing the ebbs and flows of this tournament.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the day, you wouldn't dream seeing a Ho-Oh off the ban list, and now we have Overlord on Blaziken and Slash on Ho-Oh. Again, a Pokemon he was playing pre-buff. So you take a look at what they're building, and Buzzwole is having a phenomenal day on any team that's picked it up. And they're rounding out with a Clefable, which we just talked about had a new coat of paint. We're dealing with just some high-octane picks across the board.
These are great picks. I'm very curious to see how this ends up for Luminosity. Yeah, okay, so what we don't really have from Reject is kind of that ranged burst damage. You have a little from Mewtwo. You do have a little from Suicune as well, with like crazy disruption, right? But when I look at Reject, if they don't burst them down real fast with the Buzzwole's Arena, I wonder how they're going to finish out some of these fights.
Yeah, you know, Luminosity, on the other hand, there is some decent self-sustain. You know, if you look at Zarina, it's a pretty good scrapper just on its own. Pair that with a Clefable, and we saw it be the key to success in previous games today, where they just went truck and trailer, and they were just ripping through the opposing squad. So Luminosity, no strangers to dealing and contending against these Pokemon, but that doesn't mean they're not going to have to play smart. Now, Alolan Raichu has only been played by 2 other teams today, and Luminosity, when they're gutter picking this type of stuff, it means that they're onto something, but kudos to the other teams that are seeing it because they're onto something as well.
You know, I think seeing the curse items on the side of Luminosity is also a great call into this Clefable here. The healing is incredible, but if we are reducing that considerably with those 2 curse items, Raichu had a curse item, Ho-Oh had a curse item, that could be huge for LG here. I wonder how this is going to fare because you're right. The sustain is really incredible, and they have so much annoying stun, right? They have the Buzzwole, they have the Suicune together that can create these incredible combos. If Zarina is able to get multiple Queenly Majesty resets and just sustain their way through an entire fight, it could definitely take LG down. As we have a pause on the big stage, making sure that everyone is able to connect to this game.
I'm probably going to be proven wrong immediately, as tends to happen with the Caster Curse. But typically when Otter is on the Blissey, it's Safeguard Helping Hand. And when Slash is on the Blissey, it can go either way, but usually ends up being the egg set. So, you know, a way to deal with some of that CC, maybe forecasting into the future a little bit, is that early Blissey pick, because if they see something different develop, they can always put Slash on the Blissey, right, and kind of change the role that it's going to play in this moment. But I see Otter holding on to it. All the things that you just called out that are kind of just obnoxious to have to contend with, that Reject is bringing to the table, leads me to believe that we might just see Safeguard Helping Hand. And like I said, as soon as this game's fired up, I'll be proven wrong immediately.
Yeah, that's how it goes. The Caster Curse is undefeated. But I'm with you. I think Safeguard is a great call here. Also, when you look at the item loadout that we saw on Otter, it had leftovers, which leads me to believe they don't have soft boiled. When you run leftovers, it's because you don't have any way to heal in your kit, and you're just able to kind of like peel away from the fight, use Safeguard Helping Hand, technically not engage in a new fight, so your leftovers is already triggering when you're actually actively participating. You're just not taking or receiving any damage from an enemy Pokemon or wild Pokemon. So I'm thinking you're right. I think you nailed it. We're seeing Safeguard Helping Hand right here.
You know what you just did? You just made yourself also be wrong here.
I know. Isn't that fun? It's fun how that works, right?
It's amazing. It's amazing that they choose us to do this and be here and always be wrong. Here we go. Say the thing.
All right, reject your purple team, Luminosity, your orange team. This is going to be your final best of 3 here in day 1. Japan versus North America to end us out.
Here we go. Early quick pressure. Curios off and flexing into these random picks throughout the board, doing whatever the team needs here, and Slash on a very comfortable pick as we see Otter immediately going crosstown shootout, and they're going to try and stress the resources of old Reject.
Yeah, not able to secure that, but you don't get punished that hard for a play like this. Leftovers is about to trigger right there, and you can see the HP recovery already from Otter trying to get away. Nice move right there.
Just hilarious seeing these two scrap.
Yeah, as Pavone is trying to push them back and get them away from this. Leftovers triggering once again for Otter, and they're continuing this, looking for the KO, but not able to get it. Wow.
Otter getting out just feels like icing on the cake right here for them. They're able to disrupt, slow things down, keep Pavone on the chase, and now we've got a little bit of pressure. Slash is there, Pee-wee rolls up, full HP, gonna try to A-press down this LG squad. Satake on the backside, quickly putting the stomps down on those birds, getting a split of the experience between these teams. It was kind of a 4v3, but Reject not too afraid of that.
Yeah, it actually looked like it went pretty well for Reject. You see the Buzzwole doing pretty well. Already level 5 here in the top end and scoring 30, getting a level 6 now. Really nice stuff for Reject. LG behind on the scoreboard. Mewtwo Y putting some pressure on right there. We do have the Alolan Raichu online.
Nice quick evolution there out of the Alolan Raichu. Some things that teams that haven't been able to get online had issues with was getting it online there. And of course, we're going to be not laying landmines with this Raichu. We're going to be trying to A-press this Reject team.
Yeah, I mean, with this curse item on there, I think they're just hoping that these boosted attacks are chaining through the entirety of Reject as they're hanging around that Clefable, right?
Tons of damage on Slash there, and they're able to just fly out of danger. Overlord's waiting for a poach, can't quite nab the Suicune Tamarine, and now the rest of the team just has to kind of snap their fingers, say, dang it, we'll get him next time.
Yeah, and we see Trainer here in a lot of trouble. I mean, being out-leveled considerably in this top path, peeling away, and they actually lose that top path goal zone quite early as Luminosity is scoring the bottom path. They caught them there. They found out where they were heading home in the tall grass and got a big-time KO. Slash in trouble, decides to break this goal zone here. They need to continue stacking to get this Ho-Oh online, but that's a double KO for Reject.
LG fans got to be concerned a little bit. They expended a lot of resource to try and get an advantage in the bottom path, and yes, they're able to close that goal zone, but I mean, Reject has been holding it down pretty well despite being outnumbered and doing tons of work up top. Now we're just trying to A-press. We now just saw the Blissey Safeguard helping hand, of course, and they have to fight from their own pad here as now it's the personnel advantage for Reject.
Yeah, things are working pretty well for Reject here. The Ho-Oh moving in, actually trying to cause a lot of static. Huge flamethrower, catching multiple members of Reject here. And now they're in great position for this bottom Reggie.
They absolutely bullied Reject out. Satake up top as this Zarina is going to be able to take Reggie Alecki for free. Luminosity, we have to see how they'll pivot. Are they willing to defend? Yes. Trainer goes back early. They're going to shred up top, and so is Overlord. Are they going to leave somebody downstairs to babysit? Slash might be on those duties. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, look at the level swing here at Zarina at level 10 right now. Luminosity getting cooked level-wise, seeing if they can catch them right there. Barely not getting that hit from the overheat as Zarina is trying to cause some problems here in the top path.
There you go. You have the safeguard on the Zarina Unite right on Kyrios, and they're knocked out instantly. Or excuse me, right on Otter and knocked out instantly there. Good use, and they can't get this Zarina. It's just too big, and it's moving too quick.
And now they're heading to the bottom path right here. Another nice score, 198 to 82. Luminosity behind on the scoreboard. But where it really counts, Dupe Snacks, it is this level advantage that they have for Reject. 2 levels higher on the Zarina, 1 level higher on the Buzzwole here.
Not to jinx old LG, but when it's when it's Overlord, Slash, and Kyrios on the world stage, those 3 players specifically forming this LG team, they have not lost a set at Worlds. Think year 1, think year 2, and now they're trying to make it year 4.
This is going to be pretty incredible for them if they can pull this off, but I got to say, Reject is putting them through the paces here the first half of game number 1. They're coming online now, though. They have their levels. They're getting there. They're still behind Reject. They're behind on the scoreboard, but they're not out by any means. You know, about 50 points separate these teams and a few levels.
I mean, the levels are actually pretty close, too.
Yes.
So, I mean, one good fight and all of that just kind of goes out the window. We're back at parity, and it looks like that's what both teams are squaring up for. I think Reject senses that they have just a slight advantage. We'll see if they use it.
Yeah, Haruto looking for a play right here. Moving forward, grabs Trainer. Knew they were in the bush with Trainer right up in the sky.
Emerald two-step right back away, gets the KO, and Zarina goes down instantly. Slash with great pressure up front, splits Pavone from all of those attackers, and now Regice is getting shredded. And you want to talk about that experience lead, it's just gone. And now it's in the hands of Luminosity. Yes, Zarina's level 12, but Luminosity's still motoring forward. Slash might get KO'd here, but no, they get out because of the safeguard helping hand. Well done, LG, not stressing too much.
Yeah, I mean, LG played that fight beautifully, even though there was a beautiful catch there from the Buzzwole, actually noticing Trainer in the tall grass, moving forward. Luminosity pivoted on that fight, counterpunched extremely well. Now they're, you know, pushing towards this top goal zone. Buzzwole moving in once again. Huge Unite move gets the KO on Leafeon.
And now we have to pivot back. Slash is really trying to burn down and push some stress. Nice revive there from the Ho-Oh. That's what you wanted for, and that's enough to get 2 KOs back. Pavone is absolutely getting beat down. They're the next one on the chopping block, and they try to follow me back to pad, and it's not good. Tamarine is peeling back as well, but now these points are going to start going in. The Suicune has to retreat, and it's just the Mewtwo-Y stepping up, but it's not enough for the Legendary to do so.
Look at this, 198-203, some great scoring there from Luminosity, gets them ahead. They're going to try to out-secure this, and they do. Tamarine's going to have to peel back right here. Overlord looking to move forward and ego them a bit. Otter peels them back a bit with the safeguard, with 5 members of Reject are showing some real pressure towards the side of Luminosity.
Otter backs, leaving Overlord alone, but just Pavone stepping forward as the Clefable is not enough, so they have to retreat as well. Meanwhile, you see Slash kind of work in the bottom left corner of your map as Regieleki's going in, and they're trying to get some vision where Reject is, see if they can find any value.
You know, the pendulum of this match really is swinging back in the way of Luminosity. They were absolutely, they were close at the very start of this match, and then Reject took an early lead, early level lead, put a lot of pressure on, way up on the scoreboard, but look at Luminosity here. Level-wise, they are now ahead by a considerable margin on a few Pokemon. 14 on the Blaziken, and we've only got 3 level 12s for Reject.
Yeah, however, at least they've kept the score line close, and that's something these top teams do. Slash still staying up front, and the firepower is there. 2 steps quickly moving forward. Buzzwole down. Mewtwo-Y is trying to shell in as much of this psychic energy as they can, but it's not enough. Regice is taken by Blaziken. Overlord Overheat always hits, baby, and they're still trying to put the pressure on, but it's not enough by Reject. They can only lay in chip shots, and I don't think LG's feeling any of them.
You know, this is something I talked about right at the start of this draft. I was wondering how Reject was going to finish some of these fights. I was wondering if they had enough damage to take down Luminosity. And it feels like in some of these moments they do not. We see Trainer trying to get their Unite move back online. We have 5 seconds until Ray hits the map. LG in a good position here, but not too many points separate these 2 teams. Buzzwole chipping it. They move right in. No, they're going to peel back here. Zarina deciding to move in and fight, and they're not stopping.
No, their pressure is on, and now it's Overlord catching an overheat, and they're trying to put it onto somebody. Follow Me is there. Mewtwo-Y Unite pop. Suicune's on the backside. Big Unite chips a couple, but doesn't get anybody down. The Bliss Assistance just in time to save Overlord. And now it's just the Buzzwole that's down and matched by Otter on the side of LG. How is Luminosity going to recover?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Even though Luminosity has someone down, they still have a Ho-Oh Unite move, which they actually used to bring back Blissey, and now they're going to push towards this fight with Buzzwole down. Leafeon moving through the top here. We have a lot of pressure from the Ho-Oh, and they're looking to win this.
Follow Me is there. We still have a Zarina Unite. They go into the back line. They catch the Ho-Oh. Is that the right target? That's a big question mark. Satake is trying to keep it going for the team. Low HP is Luminosity. Straight into the back line. Satake keeps the pressure on. Overlord's looking for an overheat, and they don't see anybody. They're peeling back, and everybody's taking another deep breath.
Yeah, and here we go. It actually looks like Reject is turning onto Ray right now. They're trying to peel Luminosity in. Huge play. Blissey goes down. 4 members of Reject onto Rayquaza. We have Leafeon in the top path. Blaziken coming from the bottom.
We're looking for a backdoorish Trainer on this Leafeon. Tons of pressure on his Pee-wee is trying to put the pressure on the Rayquaza. They find another target. There's just 2 players left standing. The Ho-Oh. the Leafeon. Is that enough? Reject is down by 5. We got some back cap action, and that is going to give them the lead. What is the recovery from Luminosity going to look like? We have 30 seconds left, and Reject continues to score.
Beautiful stuff from Reject. They were able to win enough of a fight that they could put pressure on those goal zones with only 20 seconds left, and Trainer in a horrible position. It looks like Reject is going to take this game through scoring, winning a Ray fight, but it was a war of attrition between these two squads. No one landing that knockout blow, but Reject able to peel away, put points on the board, and take game number 1.
What a well-crafted fight by Reject. And both teams were kind of clashing. Less and then comfortable, a little less self-sustaining.
Yeah.
And then you commit to a plan there. I do think there's some clever choices Luminosity can make here. We're just going to see what those are. Reject, on the other hand, have to feel good about that game because they played, it was a masterclass.
Yeah, they had an amazing Ray fight. They kept it really close the entire time, and they made the exact right call when they had the amount of pressure that they could put on a top and bottom goal zone. They knew the scoreline was so close that that one little score could push them over the edge. They also continued to put points on the board after that. As we see our bans right here, you just talked about it. Zarina banned out here by Luminosity. Now we have a first pick, Suicune.
Suicune's terrific. You and I have been touting this Pokemon for a long time now, even after the nerfs. Looking and just taking in what these choices that Luminosity has target bans, and they're saying you can have every other piece of firepower you want. We just don't want to contend with these two. Fine. Let's see how they handle it from here on out and where Reject goes.
So we have the target ban, but then we have sort of the pick the other way, right? They were saying we don't want to deal with Blaziken again. We do not want to see Overlord on this thing in another match, so we're going to take it away. Slash quickly grabbing that Ho-Oh, and it looks like Trainer is deciding that Leafeon looks good again. I got to say, the start of last match, pretty rough for Trainer on Leafeon, which is not what you want out of Leafeon. Sure, they left it alone. It was hard to fight a Buzzwole alone as this Leafeon, but at the same time, a lot of the reason you pick a Pokemon like this is because of the early pressure it creates, and it's a little unfortunate that they weren't able to take advantage of that at all.
Yeah, I mean, this pick right here, this Blastoise is something you and I have just not been huge fans of. I'm looking forward to Reject making me a believer here because every time we've seen it on broadcast, it's felt underwhelming. But if you can corner Overlord into grabbing Lucario, again, it's one of those things that never feels over-impressive. Just kind of checks the box.
Yeah, you know, the interesting thing here about this Blastoise is I was actually watching Reject games before we came here, and this was one of those Pokemon that I'm also not fully sold on in this meta, but they do make it look great, and the real play with it is the Rapid Spin Hydro Pump. There's an insane amount of disruption that you get from it, and with the build that they have at, I think it's level 9, you're able to get 2 Hydro Pumps in a single Rapid Spin when you have these attack speed items. So you're just barely able to get 2 huge bursts of damage, and it's a huge area of disruption as well, where it pushes multiple members of the enemy team. We're gonna have to see how it plays here in game number 2. And Luminosity, I mean, obviously this is not how they want to finish their day out. Luminosity, your purple team, down here against Reject, your orange team, in a best of 3. If Reject wins this, they are the #1 seed out of their group.
Just to wrap up a conversation point about a Spin Pump Blastoise, also a decent secure tool. So they have that in tandem with Blaziken, and you look at the side of Luminosity, and how are they going to be securing things?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. We have Slash getting bullied out of this central area right here. Having to deal with the red buff on the Hoopa is very, very annoying. The slow from those auto attacks might not be able to make it home. We have the X speed. They're trying to actually peel away. What a heads-up play there from Slash. Actually able to avoid that, but look at the Ho-Oh. Chases them down and punishes them.
I mean, very well done. It was a long effort, obviously, but they got the prize they were looking for. And at the end of the day, that's what you want out of a Hoopa. You give it the red buff for a reason, right? And it delivered on the task at hand.
Yeah, absolutely. As we take a look here at the bottom path, we had Otter on this Suicune. We have Curios on the Armarouge. This is a Pokemon that actually had a huge run at NAIC. It felt like Armarouge was massive in that tournament, trying to defend this goal zone right here, but they are getting pushed around. We have the Combustion coming in with a nice blaze kick, picking up a KO, but here comes that Leafeon.
They needed to get at least something there, right? They put the pressure on. They were able to stem the tide a little bit. That's what ultimately was important. Mewtwo still hanging out. Curios has yet to evolve, and we know this poor little Char Cadet, well, it's not getting much done. And sorry, I didn't realize you were doing things. And for those of you at home, you don't need to know what those are. And it definitely wasn't a kissy face to somebody taking his picture right now, which I will do.
I do want to point out that we have both been blowing kissy faces at a photographer during the start of this match, which is not what we're supposed to be doing. They're looking for candid casting shots as we head towards this fight here in the middle. Nice big KO on the Armor Rouge. They're going to push forward towards Otter. The Blaziken moving in. There's the overheat. Living on a prayer right now. Otter in a lot of trouble getting the freeze, but the Heavy Slam picks up that KO.
Yeah, that was all but written in stone there. That was an easy knockout once that big overheat hit on Otter. Now they're trying to find value in other places of the map, and that is something I mentioned the previous game, but something worth touching on again here. These top teams may be getting beat down in these team fights, but they stay on top of the task at hand, which is trying to keep at least the score line close and getting experience in that way. Here we go. Luminosity pushing forward 3v2. Snorlax makes it a balanced 3v3. Overheat doesn't catch anybody. Satake thinking they're stepping forward. Haruto, on the other hand, taking a lot of pain from Trainers. Trainers going to get some points in, and Trainers hopefully going to go knock out a Wartortle.
Yeah, and they do. You know, Blastoise very bad early. Leafeon is obviously incredible. As we peel down towards this fight, we have Satake just ripping through Reg Ice right here, waiting for their cooldowns. They're ready to go. Easy, secure. However, the top path is being taken over by Luminosity. We have Lucario not moving down to the bottom path really at all. Leafeon staying there as well, making sure they can get all of their stacks. And now they're putting pressure on this top path. You see Overlord on a Pokemon that used to be one of their signatures, trying to score in this top path, but actually able to make it out there with extreme speed.
Yep, E-Speed, a very fun version of Lucario to watch. We need to see it get value this game, Spraggles. We really do.
Yeah, you know, this is one of those Pokemon that got buffed, I want to say 3 or 4 tournaments ago, and you would see teams pick it up here or there, and I was wondering if anyone was going to give it a real shot rather than just going, I didn't get the all-rounder I wanted, I'm going to lean back into the old faithful, right? We'll see what LG can do with it here.
I will say, this little Hoopa has been annoying. Pavone always getting in and just kind of couple more points, nickel and diming Luminosity a little bit, and there's another 5-banger right there for them, as they might have to pay for this insolence as they went for another stack.
Overlord right now using the Unite move to try to win this fight, but just kind of egoing them in that central area as we have multiple members of LG now pushing towards this goal zone. Might get pushed back here by Satake on this Blaziken, looking to steal someone with the Blaze Kick, but no, LG peels away from this fight. Mewtwo is mega, but maybe not the best time for it. There aren't a ton of targets here.
Yep, and there's Pavone. They're actually going to close the goal zone out. They're going to limit Luminosity's field here and force them to retreat to a T2. Up top, though, we've got 40 points going in, and Overlord's going to be too late in stopping it. Level 11 Blaziken, level 10 Lucario.
Yeah, Lucario here, you know, it can brawl pretty well, but Blaziken with its combos feels like it kind of has Lucario's number a bit, unless there are multiple targets around for Lucario to bounce between, right, with the extreme speed. And without that, I think Overlord has to peel away. We have Slash once again invading the central area here of Reject, not able to steal anything away, but that pressure is important. It just constantly stresses your opponents.
All right, we've got some Unite moves to use here. We'll see how Luminosity plays it. Tons of damage there. And moving back as the Snorlax trying to pin Otter against the wall was almost successful. Portal is down, Heavy Slam is there, Power Nap doesn't go for the reset. Reg Ice is getting shredded. However, Luminosity have more players around it. No, they kind of get bullied out. The Spin Pump is going active right now and finds themselves an Overlord. Big Mewtwo Unite with the Hydro Typhoon, and all of a sudden, Reject is looking to take more bodies.
Yeah, the Caster Curse in full effect as Blastoise has an amazing fight with its Unite move that, of course, is incredible, and it had huge moments with that Spin Pump right there. Luminosity behind on the scoreboard. Level-wise, things are pretty close. We got a couple of 12s on the side of Reject here. Reject, once again, in control. Not exactly where you expect Luminosity to be, but this is one of the best teams from possibly the best region in the world, Japan.
Now, I mean, Luminosity is trying to keep their eye on the prize, right? They understand that they're behind in these team fights, but they can try and figure out this score lead. They have a T1 still available in the lower lane, and of course, getting the Regieleki helps stress them out. Look at all that Eos energy right there, too. So if they can get this to land, that's a bunch of easy scores.
Yeah, you know, if Slash can bother two of them up here, there's a possibility for Luminosity to make a play. It looks like they are going to peel away from this goal zone. Hoopa heading down to the bottom path, just leaving the Blastoise here in the top path as Luminosity is going to siege this goal zone.
They need to use these Unites now. Having Blastoise occupied is a great opportunity to try to get on this goal pad or get some knockouts. However, it's Slash that's hung out to dry as the rest of LG wants nothing of it.
Yeah, LG peels away. The fight is over. Luminosity not able to push towards this goal zone. Great defense there by Reject as they're going to be up by about 50 points heading towards Rayquaza here. A minute until Ray. And look at this. We talked about it before. Here's Pavone looking to make a sneaky play in the bottom half once again, just putting pressure on these goal zones.
I mean, they're almost playing this Hoopa like a Sableye, just nickel and diming, getting points. Slash kind of figuring out what was up, and just out of there in time is Pavone.
And here we go, multiple members of LG looking to make a sneaky play right here. They're heading towards the top path. We don't have Reject here. They're trying to port through. Now they're scoring, but here comes Reject to defend.
How much of LG can get out now? Because the pressure is there from Reject, and they're on the chase. Otter is going to get pinned against the wall. They get knocked out. But you can think, is the score lead worth trading a lower level support Pokemon? I think so. We've got Rayquaza on the horizon, a fast game.
Well, here goes Overlord into the entirety of Reject, just ripping through them right here until Ray is now on the board.
Well, here we go. They kind of engaged and peeled right back. They didn't find the target they wanted, but they forced out the Hoopa Unite.
And here we go. Rayquaza is now getting chipped up by these two squads. The Leafeon Unite move and they move in.
The Emerald two-step is there. Big Mewtwo Y Unite doesn't really catch any targets, but Slash goes down before they can use their Unite move. Hydro Typhoon, eject, reposition, heavy slam, follow-up, knockout. Overlord is one of the only ones standing, finding themselves on the side with Trainer. They're trying to E-speed through, they're gone, and blink through the portal as the rest of Reject, ready to reject the thoughts of LG winning this game. Heavy slam on the backside, they need to separate Trainer. Hoopa and Snorlax are on the job. Rayquaza's right there, Trainer gets nicked and stunned, and Reject takes Ray, which means Reject is eating those American Hundo burgers in our own kitchen.
Wow, Reject absolutely rinsing them, and that's what a Hydro Pump Blastoise will do. The points now raining in, as we like to say quite a bit here on broadcast. 452-23, Luminosity fully getting caught out, ending their day on an 0-2 loss. This is not how LG wants to start this tournament.
No, not at all. They do find themselves in tomorrow, but they've got a whole night to think about this one. Reject really felt like they had a better grasp of what was happening in this game. Reject felt like they had no fear and no question marks when it came to what Luminosity was going to throw at them. Reject looking powerful.
Reject just having such an incredible match. What a catch on Ho-Oh. It goes down, and now there is nothing that Luminosity can do. Just the falling of the dominoes in that fight as one member after another of LG makes their way back to the Pokemon Center. A nice fight here on this goal zone, but with only 10 seconds left and hundreds of points separating these two teams. Luminosity, with their first game on the main stage, is not looking like your future champion.
No, not at all, not at all. And the caster curse continues, as I mentioned, these three players that are two-time world champions, when they're playing together on the world stage, they have not